The Earth Charter Commission and ECI Council will continue to address this issue, and as I say, some of you may want to have some discussion about this. Now let us turn our attention now to some of the new declarations that have appeared since the Earth Charter was launched in 2000. And I'm just going to make some brief comments about a number of these declarations that may be helpful in putting some of this discussion in perspective. First, the United Nations Millennium Declaration. It was issued 5 months after the Earth Charter was finalized, and those who drafted the UN Millennium Declaration were well aware of the Earth Charter. One objective of the Earth Charter initiative has been to encourage the UN General Assembly to affirm the principle of respect for nature and what many philosophers term the intrinsic value of all life forms. These principles are set forth in the World Charter for Nature, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1982. However, the World Charter has received no recognition since then by any major summit on sustainable development, including the 1992 Rio Earth Summit. It is significant, therefore, that the UN Millennium Declaration in the year 2000 does affirm the principle of respect for nature as a fundamental guiding value for the international community. However, it gives an anthropocentric justification for the principle and does not recognize the intrinsic value of non-human species. The Millennium Declaration also contains the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs. From the perspective of the Earth Charter, the significance of the MDGs is that they establish targets and timetables for governments that constitute major steps toward implementation of fundamental sustainable development principles, including principles on poverty eradication, gender equality, and universal access to education. The UN Global Compact. The Global Compact was drafted and launched by the United Nations in 2000 as part of an effort to enlist the support of corporations in advancing implementation of fundamental international law principles on human rights, environmental protection, fair labor practices, and prevention of corruption. Now, this project is entirely consistent with the Earth Charter's ethical vision. However, the Global Compact, which has been endorsed by many international corporations, is a relatively brief document with 10 very general principles, and it's far less demanding than the Earth Charter. It is significant, therefore, that the Global Reporting Initiative is offering corporations today, corporations with which it works on the triple bottom line, people, profit, and planet, the opportunity to go beyond the Global Compact and to work with the Earth Charter's ethical framework. The Johannesburg Declaration, 2002. The Johannesburg Declaration was issued by the World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002. It affirms in very general terms the broad ethical vision found in the Earth Charter, and in doing this, it uses language that is almost identical to language in the first paragraph of the Earth Charter preamble. More specifically, the Johannesburg Declaration declares, we must declare our responsibility to one another, to the greater community of life, and to our children. Again, that threefold ethical vision. Now, this is the first time that an international law document has made reference to the greater community of life and declared that people have a responsibility to, as well as for, the greater community of life. From the perspective of the Earth Charter, this is again a significant development. However, the Johannesburg Declaration does not elaborate on what this broad declaration of responsibility means in a fashion comparable to the Earth Charter. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. In several principles, the Earth Charter explicitly recognizes the fundamental rights of indigenous peoples and calls for the end of discrimination against them. After more than 20 years of negotiations that included indigenous peoples as well as state governments, the UN General Assembly adopted in 2007 the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. This was a major victory for the 370 million indigenous peoples in Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, and the Pacific, many of whom are among the most impoverished and frequently oppressed people in the world. The Charter of Compassion, 2009, led by Professor Karen Armstrong, The Charter of Compassion was launched in 2009 as a civil society project. It involved, if I'm correct, a 6-week international consultation process on the internet and was crafted by the Council of Conscience, a group of spiritual and ethical leaders. The Charter is a relatively short document of about 350 words that emphasizes the profound importance of compassion as a universal religious and ethical value that is essential to human fulfillment and the creation of a just economy and a peaceful global community. The Charter, which equates compassion with the spirit of the Golden Rule, endeavors, and I quote, to restore compassion to the center of morality and religion. The Earth Charter calls for caring for the community of life, again with understanding, compassion, and love, and the spirit of compassion pervades its ethical vision. Rabbi Avraham Suttendorf, who is a member of the Earth Charter Commission and who is here with us today, participated in the drafting of the Charter of Compassion. The Earth Charter International fully supports this initiative as entirely consistent with the Earth Charter and the effort to awaken and sustain a new global ethical and spiritual consciousness. Now, new declarations will continue to appear as the world community and different cultures respond to the evolving human situation and new challenges. And this is certainly to be encouraged. One only hopes that these new declarations will reflect the ongoing development of the global ethical and spiritual consciousness expressed in the Earth Charter. Now, I know we're running behind time. Have I got 5 more minutes? And I'll just say a few words about the Earth Charter International Council and the Earth Charter International Secretariat. The ECI Council, which currently has 22 members from Africa, Asia, the Americas, Europe, and the Pacific, meets once or twice a year. And the Council will be having a meeting here in Ahmedabad, its second meeting this year, following this conference. As the ECI Council enters the second decade since the launch of the Earth Charter, serious consideration is being given to creating regional networks and perhaps eventually regional councils to help oversee, catalyze, and support the expanding Earth Charter initiative. And there may be some opportunity here to talk about that with some of the council members. The ECI Secretariat remains a small, efficient operation with 7 staff members and a very tight budget. A network of council members, commissioners, partner organizations, affiliates, advisors, and task forces provides on a volunteer basis a wide range of assistance in support of the Secretariat at no cost to ECI, which significantly expands the capacity and outreach of the Secretariat. Among ECI's most important partners is the University for Peace in Costa Rica, which provides a home for the Secretariat and a number of support services. In return, the Secretariat directs the Earth Charter Center for Education for Sustainable Development at UPeace and offers courses for the university. This is a very practical way in which, for example, the Earth Charter is being applied today in one important institution of higher learning. And I'm very pleased to report that as a result of an extraordinarily generous gift, ECI will be building next year a new LEED certified headquarters for the Secretariat and the Center for Education for Sustainable Development. We felt this was just a wonderful way to celebrate Earth Charter Plus 10 to be able to do this. The Secretariat manages the international website and many national websites, and it produces important resources and coordinates many activities in support of the larger Earth Charter initiative. However, the Council has made a decision to keep the Secretariat small, recognizing that a rapid worldwide expansion of activity in support of the Earth Charter can only be accomplished by a decentralized, self-organizing initiative. Independent task forces have been launched in an effort to help catalyze formation of volunteer, decentralized action projects in the field of business, education, the media, religion, and the UN. And a global youth network has been organized. Many people are doing highly creative things in support of the Earth Charter, and all of us on the ECI Council, thank you. I urge everyone here to use your imagination and contribute in innovative ways to this worldwide effort. A new version of the Earth Charter Initiative Handbook, I believe, is out and on the website now, and it has very good information and guidelines on how to participate and become involved. Now, ever since the launch of the Earth Charter in 2000, one goal of the Earth Charter Initiative has been to seek formal endorsement or recognition of the Earth Charter by the UN General Assembly. The Earth Charter has been endorsed by UNESCO, as you heard today. It's been endorsed by the World Conservation Union and many other organizations. We almost got it endorsed at the World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002. And what we hope to do is go one more time to Rio Plus 20, which is going to take place in 2012, and one more time seek recognition of the Earth Charter by the UN General Assembly and the UN international community. This will enhance the Earth Charter's standing as a soft law document and as a guiding ethical framework. A major effort to achieve this project is now being organized, and the most critical thing is contacting governments. And we will be seeking support from many of you in this regard. It's also important in this regard to get the support of non-governmental organizations that can put pressure on governments to recognize the Earth Charter. And I use the word recognize, by the way, because the UN has never endorsed or adopted a document it didn't write. And the problem is they didn't draft the Earth Charter. But we do believe it's possible to secure recognition. And we hope that some of you will be able to mobilize NGO, civil society support for this initiative. One very good bit of good news in this regard is that the European Economic and Social Committee, which is the voice of civil society in the EU, just came out with a report to the EU on Rio Plus 20, and in that report they do recommend that the EU support recognition of the Earth Charter. Now, I'm coming to the end here. You've been very patient. Just a couple more comments. There is a growing international dialogue about the problem of bringing civil society, energy, the world of NGOs, to affect a rapid transition to sustainable development. Sometimes global civil society is described as a third force, along with business and government. The problem is this third force is often not coordinated. One recent study estimated there was between 1 million and 2 million organizations worldwide working on peace, the environment, and justice. The fact is that most of these organizations work independently rather than collaboratively. So there is a discussion going on today in some quarters about creating a real global people's movement, or a coordinated or coherent global citizens movement. And the Earth Charter Secretariat and a number of council members are following this dialogue and participating in it, because it is a question of developing the means needed to get the implementation of the values and principles the Earth Charter has been created to support. Where this is going, I don't know. Exactly, how you would ever organize civil society globally is not at all clear, and exactly what you would ask a fully mobilized global civil society to do is not fully clear. But this is an important discussion, and it leads into this question about creating democratic institutions for global governance that gives the voice of the people and the voice of the earth a hearing at the table where critical decisions are made. Now, in conclusion, I want to emphasize that the documents like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Earth Charter are especially valuable as educational instruments. Education has a critical, essential role to play in the transition to a just, sustainable world community. And the Earth Charter can be used in both formal and informal educational programs to clarify the critical choices facing humanity and the urgent need for commitment to a sustainable way of life. can help to awaken and strengthen the global ethical consciousness that Gandhi embodies so beautifully and effectively, and that is the first pillar of sustainable development. Thank you very much.